Howdy y'all and welcome back to the channel. So we've talked about the best of 2023, we've talked about the worst. Let's get into 2024 with my 10 most anticipated movies of the year. But first, if you're looking forward to a movie that you don't see on this list, leave me a comment down below with what you're anticipating this year. And subscribe if you like this and you want to see more. Okay, let's get into number 10. I am heavily anticipating Robert Eggers' new movie, Nosferatu. We have gotten very limited material on this movie. We've gotten a few stills, but I just love everything that this director's putting out right now. I mean, The Lighthouse was really crazy a few years ago. I was a big fan of The Northman back in 2022. Now, that movie flopped hard. I can't imagine a budget for a Nosferatu movie is going to be really heavy, but he's got a killer cast here. He's got, first off, Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok. I mean, Skarsgård played Pennywise in It. This guy is perfect for any horror movie that you have him in, where you got to cake him up, do a lot of makeup. I already know he's gonna kill this movie. That's just perfect casting in my eyes. But then you also have Nicholas Hoult and Aaron Taylor-Johnson in supporting roles, and we do have Lily Rose Depp. Now, I know she did The Idol this last year. A lot of people are probably now thinking that she's a great performer, but, you know, I do think that she has that look to her. She has been good in other things that she's done, and what better way to recoup your career than in a Robert Eggers horror movie? And then how could I forget? We got Willem Dafoe in this movie as well, and we all know how crazy he got for The Northman, so everything about this looks like a winner to me. Now, we do have to wait a long time for it. Comes out in Christmas time 2024, so almost a full year. Honestly, at this rate, who knows? It'll probably get delayed to like early 2025, but hey, I'm still putting it on the list. Then at number 9, I have the newest iteration in the Quiet Place franchise, A Quiet Place Part 1, which takes place with a totally new group of characters on the first day of that sort of apocalypse, where we got a glimpse of in A Quiet Place Part 2. Now, this one, the new group of characters are going to be played by Lupita Nyong'o, amazing actress. I mean, just look at what she did with Us. I'm so excited to see her returning to the horror genre here. Then we have Joseph Quinn, who you may not recognize the name of, but he played Eddie Munson in season 4 of Stranger Things. So very excited to see him back on the screen. And then we got Alex Wolff here from the Naked Brothers band. Of course, he's done other stuff since then. He has great work under his belt, like in Patriots Day, Hereditary, the Jumanji movies. So there's so much to be excited for here. Now, John Krasinski is not writing and directing this, but it is from the director of Pig. I forget his name off the top of my head, but I think that that is the right tone to bleed over into the Quiet Place franchise. And we are getting this in summer 2024. Right now, it has it slated at June 28th. I'm looking forward to see if they can expand this franchise without John Krasinski. He did, I guess, put together the story for this movie, but he didn't write it, or he didn't get a writing credit. So if they can push on without him here, this really opens up that universe. And then at number 8, I keep giving this director the benefit of the doubt, and he lets me down, but sometimes he gives me all-time classics, so I still gotta be excited for Gladiator 2, the sequel to one of my favorite movies ever made, coming to us over 20 years after the first one. Now, this one is about the son from the first Gladiator, and he is going to be played by Paul Mescal, who most recently got nominated for an Academy Award for Aftersun. I thought he was absolutely excellent in that movie, and I can't wait to see what he can do in the leading role in a Ridley Scott film. But that's not all. Guys, Denzel Washington is in this movie. I never would have thought that I would see the day that Denzel Washington is in the sequel for a Gladiator movie. To me, that means the script has to be fantastic. Plenty of other supporting actors are going to be in this. We got Connie Nielsen in here, as well as Pedro Pascal. Now, they don't say who Pedro Pascal is playing, but I'm sure he's going to be a scene stealer because he's Pedro Pascal. Now, this movie I'm very excited about, but I am very hesitant about it because of Ridley Scott and what he's done lately. I had Napoleon on my top 10 most anticipated movies for this year, and Ridley Scott kind of did what he did with House of Gucci, couldn't decide on a tone. Now, I think that he's going to be careful with Gladiator 2. He knows the tone that people like in Gladiator. The last one won Best Picture. You don't have to do anything other than a Gladiator sequel. Man, please just keep the tone consistent. Make it like a 2.5-hour movie. We don't need a 3-hour cut. Please don't do another one of those. Please just make Gladiator 2 good. But yeah, I'm very excited for Gladiator 2. It should be coming in November, so several months away from that. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed any further, but right in time time for award season. Hopefully we got another winner there. Number 7 is another movie that I am very nervous about. It is Ballerina, the, I guess, first film in the John Wick universe that doesn't center around John Wick, even though Keanu Reeves will be in the movie. He's not the main character. It is going to focus on Ana de Armas as our protagonist. Angelica Houston is going to be reprising her role from John Wick 3. I want to say that she was in John Wick 3, right? Yes, I just verified she was in John Wick 3. So I am a big fan of the John Wick franchise. Obviously, Chapter 4 was in my top 10 of 2023. So I have high hopes for this movie. The thing that makes me the most nervous is its director. His name is Len Wiseman, and he has directed some really not great movies. He has directed Underworld Evolution, Live Free or Die Hard, and Total Recall. Now, I know some of those aren't like terrible, but none of them are great in my opinion, or at least I'm not a fan of them. Now, I do have faith in the producers of this franchise. They know how important this movie is. The first time they're kind of venturing off of John Wick, so hopefully he is the right man for the job, but man, I would be lying if I told you I wasn't nervous for this one. But speaking of sequels, at number 6, we have Joker Folie à Deux, the sequel to 2019's Joker that was nominated for Best Picture, won Joaquin Phoenix his Best Actor Oscar, and made over $1 billion. Now, originally that movie was going to be a standalone, but whenever you do all those things I just listed off, you're obviously going to get a sequel. But this time we have an added talent in here with Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn. And originally the report said that this was going to be a musical, but then I guess the director came out and said it isn't, but it's going to have musical elements. If you have Lady Gaga in the movie, you have to do some big show and dance number. And honestly, I think you got to put her up there on Oscar watch. You know, Joaquin Phoenix came out and he won Best Actor for the last one. You got to imagine Lady Gaga is gunning for that Oscar here. We got the director returning. We got Joaquin Phoenix returning. So obviously there's a story to tell here. Lady Gaga is a great performer as well. So fingers crossed that this thing can, do as well as the last one. Even if it does like 3/4 of as well in the box office, it's going to be a smash hit. I can't imagine the budget on this thing is gigantic. The last one didn't have a huge budget at all. At number 5, we have a movie that we've just received a lot of marketing material for already in this month. We've gotten a trailer, several stills, a poster. Furiosa is coming to us this summer, and it stars Anya Taylor-Joy in the role of Furiosa, previously played by Charlize Theron. We've got Chris Hemsworth in here too, and it's George Miller coming back and do another Mad Max movie. Well, I guess Mad Max isn't in the movie, but it's in the Mad Max universe. But you know what? The Mad Max Fury Road movie was absolute insanity. That has some of the best action I've ever seen on screen before. If he can do anything like what he did back in 2015, this thing is going to be a smash. You got a lot of people looking forward to this. A lot of people wanted a actual sequel to Mad Max, but the production on that movie was apparently an absolute nightmare, and it doesn't really surprise me because the product that we got was just utterly insane stunt-wise, so I can imagine that it was very taxing on the performers and everyone involved. But hey, I am just very fortunate, or I'm feeling very fortunate, that we are getting something from George Miller in this universe. It's been 9 years since Fury Road came out, and it is just about time that we got something. Okay, we're getting into the heavy hitters. At number 4, we have Inside Out 2, and I know a lot of you probably aren't with me on this one, but hear me out. Inside Out is probably my favorite animated movie ever made. It's one of my favorites. That movie hit me like a freight train whenever it came out in 2015, and basically every time that I've seen it since, it's just a brilliant movie. Whenever I watched Inside Out for the first time, I was sitting there thinking the person that made this is a genius. And while Pete Docter isn't coming back and directing this one, I have faith in whoever he put in the driver's seat for this movie. It's going to follow our main character, Riley, as she gains a few more emotions. She's going to high school. You know, the brain's getting a little bit more complicated. We don't have all of the voice performers returning, but we do have Amy Poehler returning as Joy, which is always a win. And I love the Pixar movie that came out this year in Elemental, so hopefully they can keep the ball rolling with Inside Out 2 next year. Number 3 is a movie that's probably going to be number 1 on a lot of your lists. this, and that is Deadpool 3 for me. Now, I am obviously very much anticipating this movie. We got Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine. We are finally getting a Deadpool sequel after, 5-6 years. This thing is going to be in the MCU. It seems like it's going to be cameo galore, but it still makes me a little bit nervous how much is coming out that's going to be in this movie, and I just hope it isn't a cluster. Now, I do have faith in Ryan Reynolds and the team over there. Sean Levy, I think, is an okay choice to be director. I haven't loved the movies that he's had in his career. Now, some of them are kind of classics in my mind, but not because they're good, but because I watched them as a kid. Free Guy was certainly good, but I don't know if that's the tone for a Deadpool movie. Obviously, with Ryan Reynolds there, he's going to make sure that it is the best possible Deadpool movie that we can get. And if it's something worthy of Hugh Jackman coming out of retirement as playing Wolverine, then I surely think it's going to be something good. It seems like it's going to be a giant farewell to the Fox cinematic universe there with the X-Men movies, and I cannot wait for it to come out in July. It's been delayed like 4 times over the last several months, and I just hope it doesn't get delayed again. But still, very excited for that one. But at number 2 is a movie that probably not a lot of you have heard of, but it is Bong Joon-ho, director of Parasite's new movie Mickey 17, starring Robert Pattinson. Now, I don't have a lot of details about what this movie is about. It seems like Pattinson is playing some kind of humanoid robot thing going to another planet. But look, it's Bong Joon-ho. This guy doesn't know how to make a bad movie. He just won the Best Picture for Parasite in 2019. That movie is an all-time classic in my eyes, and all the movies that he made beforehand were also excellent, and now he's working with Robert Pattinson. I don't see how this movie isn't good. We have only a teaser that was released like a year ago, and this movie releases in March, so I would imagine their marketing train is going to be picking up pretty soon, probably going to see a Super Bowl ad in there, and I am heavily anticipating it. But then at number 1, you already know. Dune Part 2 comes out in March, and I could not be more ready for this thing. Whenever it got delayed a few months from November of 2023, I was so sad. It is the sequel to my favorite movie from 2021. It's a movie that we should have gotten the next year, but for whatever reason, Warner Brothers just didn't shoot the entire thing at once, so we've had to wait several years now. I cannot wait to return back to Dune, to return back to Denis Villeneuve's world, all of the beautiful visual effects that we got in that movie. My only worry about it is that it's going to be released so early in the year that the Academy's just going to forget about it for the next year's Academy Awards and just not nominate it in places where it should be. I have all the faith in the world that this movie is going to be awesome. Hopefully they decide to go through with a Dune Messiah movie in a few years after this one, but for the time being, I cannot wait for them to close out the next chapter in the franchise that I never knew would be as excellent as it is. But those are my 10 most anticipated movies of 2024. Thank you guys so much for watching this video up to this point, and be sure to subscribe if you like this and you want to see more. Bye, y'all.